In a world where comics, movies, games, rumors, and Kardashians come at you 24/7, 3 champions will rise to defend you from wasting precious time, money, and emojis. BK, Nate, and Derreck will show you how to do it the player way.
Ladies and gentlemen and everything in between, it's on once again and Patron once again. It's the Player Way Podcast. I'm Nate with my co-captains, PK.
Really? I give you the opportunity to do the intro, and this is what I'm BK Jackson. It's on once again, Patron once again.
Oh,
that's
I'm
right.
Back like you. I thought we
gotta get the energy up, and we're gonna start it. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, with all due respect, this is your boy BK at Play Life Your Way. You've already heard from our co-captains, Nate.
Hi.
And Derreck.
I got to give a shout out to Nate for corrupting this system already. So I can't even. I bow before Nate right now.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. Like, Nate was just like, right before we started this episode, Nate was like, I think like we should like just play with people and change the intro up and see if anyone notices. And the first thing he does is say everything in between, when clearly it's everyone in between, with all due respect, because it's supposed to be a shout out to our LGBTQ community, who's everyone in between. He's like everything in between. I'm like, no, you're totally gonna get us kicked off.
We immediately had a technical difficulty at the start out.
Exactly.
So that means with the switch off, I'm going to have to give us a disclaimer.
What I'm enjoying is the amount of just adulation and energy that Nate brought to the table, to the Player Way Podcast. Just a quick little hit about what the Player Way Podcast is. It's that little 5 hours of summer once a week, and absolutely I did steal that from undisclosed location, but all you need to know is the location to get the latest and greatest entertainment media news.
The Player Way.
That's right, the Player Way. There's only one place you can go, which is the Player Way Podcast. So if you want to know what we got going on, just listen up. It's episode 18, so let's get it started. Boys, what have we been up to this week?
I've been perusing Netflix just to see. Let me come across those things on, like the list that I always add stuff to, that eventually I'll watch, maybe perhaps on some rainy day, some late night with insomnia. Who knows? But I came across a couple things that I watched. Quick hit. I was filling some time with Lie to Me earlier last week, and there was an episode. You like that show?
Lie to Me.
I love Lie to Me.
Way back. There was a hashtag TBT.
Dude,
and the show is coming out on Thursday too.
Season 2, episode 2. Chadwick Boseman was the main character in that episode, and he once again played his part very well. But since we had talked about horror last week, I love watching horror movies, and I came across kind of a good little gem. And this came out about 4 years ago, but BK, you might be interested in it. It's called The Houses October Built, and it centers around this group of people who there's allegedly this underground Halloween party, and you don't know about it unless you're going to these very realistic haunted houses. You know, the ones out there that you have to sign a waiver for, or that people are really going to be doing some expletive up things.
The ones that I'm not
the
ones that I'm not about that life about.
The ones that I would go to jail because I'm not about to play this game with you. I need animatronics, and you need to be out of my reach, because if you come out here shaking and violent, like, it's just going to be on and popping.
You'd have to walk.
Simple as that.
You have to step in their face and say, "I don't have the money."
I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
You stepping up there talking about, "I don't have the money."
Yes, exactly. One of these days, I'm gonna kick your. Yes, if y'all don't know what we're referring to, go back on my page and watch this video from '84, where this gentleman congressman handles a bill collector reporter, in essence, the same way I would like to handle all bill collectors.
I'll tell you what, here's what you should do. Like, did you put that on your Instagram?
It's on my it's not on my Instagram.
Put like a little bit of an Instagram so that, and then like give them like the keyword to find it on YouTube, because that is amazingly funny.
It's worth it.
It is so worth it. If you've ever been to the point where you're over people, that is it. But I apologize. I digress. I totally corrupted your system. Take the story back.
You're good. You're good. 2014 houses October Bill, and it centers around this group of kids. Sony Handycam kind of style, but they get in an RV and they go to like all these small towns, like starting across like Texas, heading over toward Louisiana, and these like crazy Halloween parties. And throughout the movie, the original house that they went to, they kind of see characters from that first house pop up hundreds of miles later, whether it be on the side of the road or at a completely different haunted house that's 200 miles away. And I'm not going to spoil it, because it was one of those sneaky ones. I'm like, let's just see. Because what I like to do when I come across a random movie, I'll watch the first 7 minutes. And if I'm okay with it, then I'll give it up to 13. And if I'm not into it by 13, I'll shut it down. Yep. So I watched the first 7 minutes, and needless to say, obviously, I watched the whole movie. So this is something I'd recommend to you, BK, at least. Nate, if you want to, I'm not sure how you are on like kind of horror, suspense, those type of things, but no major actors in this. A couple people you might have seen be like, oh, that one guy from that one thing kind of. But I'll put this kind of on par with like the Haunting of like Deborah Logan, The Den, those kind of movies. But this one is definitely, I would put ahead of it. It's stressful. It's stressful. The rating on IMDb doesn't do it justice. It's a stressful, because I like to put myself in those particular scenarios, and the whole idea of people following me for hundreds of miles, and I don't know how they're following me, and they're finding me in the middle of nowhere when I'm camped out trying to find some hole in the ground alleged haunted house. It's just stressful. So it's definitely something pretty cool to watch. So I wanted to at least mention that on there.
Shout out to you on that one, man. That sounds amazing, man. You doing horror movies
the player way.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
Nate, what you got? What you up to this week?
I continued my streak of watching bad movies from the opening of the summer box office. I watched Baywatch.
Nice.
Which I gotta say, as a preface, I usually enjoy Dwayne Johnson's movies, and this by far might be his worst one. Like,
worse than the Scorpion King?
Worse than the Scorpion King. I'd watch the Scorpion King.
I'm not gonna let you sit up here and Dorothy Mantooth the Scorpion King.
I'm telling you, man. My goodness, it's worse than
this was. God, this was a movie.
Let's put this in perspective for a second. The Scorpion King is probably one of the worst movies ever made. Like,
and it was right when he started.
Terrible. It's legitimately.
He had no
terrible.
practice.
Down to his
well, then you never saw the Scorpion King 2, then.
Oh no, I didn't.
Well, I don't know if Scorpion King was. I mean, I don't think it was his fault, because I believe his second movie was The Rundown, and I loved The Rundown.
Yeah, The Rundown was good.
Walking Tall too.
Well, he got after the Scorpion King, he got rid of, after The Mummy Returns and the Scorpion King, he got rid of that coif thing that he had, like that cul-de-sac where he was trying to hold on to his hair still.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that they CGI'd in on top of the scorpion. That terrible haircut. Yeah, so like he got rid of that. The Rock is definitely like one of the best people at reinventing himself, and I think he himself understands that like you can't win them all, and you got to set yourself up to win and lose, and you got to set yourself up to lose so that you can ensure that you're going to guarantee a win. Unlike like Will Smith is not very good at that. Will Smith was just like one of those guys that he just thought he was just going to keep on winning and winning and winning. My conspiracy theory for this week.
Conspiracy. But what if? But what if? Conspiracy.
My conspiracy theory. With all due respect, Nate, the Rock intentionally took.
I said with all due respect.
With all due respect, he intentionally took a terrible film. So while you're going to give a review of how terrible this movie is, ladies and gentlemen, please understand, and everyone in between, please understand that The Rock doesn't make terrible films, and The Rock means no, I will never. Go ahead, Nate.
So Nate, BK, walk with me on this one. Nate, break Walking Tall. Tell us what you thought about not Walking Tall. Break Baywatch down. Tell us what you thought about Baywatch.
Baywatch is.
It doesn't matter what you thought about Baywatch.
That's exactly.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
I'm just saying. Listen, look, Baywatch was made for the millions.
that didn't want this movie.
And millions of Rock's fans who was like, hey, he just keeps winning and winning and winning. When will he ever lose?
It's not even...
Apparently,
The Rock...
The Weeknd.
The Rock plays his usual charismatic self. It's bad writing. Like, it's a movie... It's the epitome of a movie that's trying too hard to be 21 Jump Street.
I got you. Would you say that The Rock turned heel for this movie?
No, not at all. I mean...
He was probably trying to do some healing.
It's mostly like the script.
So many levels.
You know, like the script is so bad. The Rock has this motivating speech where he's talking to the trainees of Baywatch at first, and he's like,
the who?
The trainees of Baywatch.
Oh,
like it's supposed to be some sort of elite.
Got
you know,
for a second, I thought we might have to. For a quick second, I thought we'd have to do a technical difficulty, man. You gotta be careful the way you pronounce those trainees. Okay, be careful.
What did I say?
Well, I mean, just I'm saying at the
Baywatch?
very beginning of the episode, you left out everyone in between,
gotcha.
call them everything in between. Then you
right.
say something about the trainees.
All
I'm just
right.
trying to make sure we get to keep our show, sir. Don't be
Okay.
offensive.
Well, it starts out with people trying to get a spot on Baywatch, working hard to get a spot there. He gives this motivational speech about how you're supposed to become one with the Bay, you know, and you're just sitting there
goodness.
like, oh,
Was there
up.
good music? Was there good music while he was talking? Was there like a crescendo leading up to this?
No, there was
what
a
the
moment
music?
where they played the theme song, you know, like, are you ready? That thing.
Oh.
There's a moment
I feel
where
like
Zac
this is one
Efron, in a moment to try to save someone from drowning, takes a motorcycle from the beach, goes around, drives through the pier, all the way to the end of the beach, jumps off said motorcycle into the water, and you're just like, look, this would never happen. I know how this is, I believe, is supposed to be set in L.A. I know how crowded these piers are. There is no way you can drive a motorcycle
down
full speed. And honestly... It's like, what happened to the motorcycle? They never explained that, because I'm like, that thing would be totaled, you know?
So it sounds
and
like
the 47 people he hit before he jumped to the water.
Yeah, and they're trying to, like, investigate this whole conspiracy drug ring going on, and, you know, and it's like, I don't know what the show was like. I never watched it, but I can't believe it was about this.
Yeah.
You know,
it sounds like they were trying to, and I've heard this actually, that they were trying to intentionally make it terrible so that it would be funny, but they couldn't even intentionally make it terrible. Like
no,
it was like, hey, see, we're funny. See, it's like they were trying way too hard. Would you say that?
Yeah, with loads of like these unnecessary action shots, like one of The Rock with carrying a survivor on his shoulders, jumping off an exploding boat. You know, it's like, come on. You know, you're a fucking lifeguard. This ain't gonna happen.
See, what would have been great is if they had a character like that in the movie. See, has studios not learned their lesson? Robert Downey Jr. taught everybody what you have to do. You got to put a guy in the movie that diffuses and says, "Isn't this just stupid?" Like it, because then it makes it funny. It's like, okay.
Well, they try to. There's like a police guy constantly like showing up at the crime scene saying, "Hey, you guys are lifeguards. This isn't your jurisdiction." And you know, The Rock standing tall and is like, "Well, this happened on my beach." You know, it's like, come on.
They should have had like a guy. They should have had the Daryl guy from The Office. Along with like,
with
like the white guy from the Domino's commercials, from Stranger Things, that guy, and had them as a buddy cop. And then like when they go to explain what happened, they would be like, "So let me get this straight: you ran a motorcycle on a empty pier in Los Angeles. You got clear without hitting anyone." You threw the motorcycle in the water, diving in and avoiding a shark attack. And where's the motorcycle now?
Yeah.
Like, that would have been hilarious. Like,
so I'm going to write you a ticket for polluting, reckless driving, reckless endangerment, attempted murder. Like, just gives them this rap sheet.
or we can make believe that you're lying and none of this ever happened. Like, I think like the most
dude, it should have been a 21 Jump Street crossover. Like Ice Cube should have jumped out and been trying to arrest these fools.
I was thinking about that. Is you could have like this sort of goofy shared universe cop, you know.
Yes.
But 21
Will
Jump Street
Ferrell and Mark
was-
Wahlberg jump up. The good guys jump up because
they
Rock
had
was in
better-
that, wasn't he? Wasn't Rock in that?
Which one?
That could have been his previous job, and then
the
wasn't
other
the Rock
guys?
in the good guys? Oh, the other
other
guys.
guys.
Yeah, the other guys.
Yeah.
But
But
could have
he
been,
died
I
early
quit this
on
to
in
go
the
be a
movie.
lifeguard, did you? Oh, well, this pre-quel.
Yeah.
Pre-sequel.
pre-sequel.
Pre-sequel,
but
parallel universe. I
21 Jump Street was
Hip-hop.
smarter with its raunchy humor, things like that. Like, a lot of the jokes fell flat. A lot of dick jokes just came out of nowhere.
You slept with the
You know.
chief's daughter. Ah! Like, that whole scene of
so
how
would
he
you
reacted.
would you say that with would you say with this release, The Rock has hit rock bottom?
Oh!
Well, no, because, I mean, honestly, this is one bad movie, you know, in a resume of good ones, so... Oh, well, I appreciate the pun.
I got you. Apparently the pun fell stone cold.
Yeah, may this movie rest in peace.
Nate did not disappoint. He brought it home. Rochineka.
Darkness pin on that one.
I'm telling you, man. All right. Well, what have I been up to this week?
Well, let's move on to something of a different pedigree.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh! Man, this whole conversation has degenerated into something, fool.
If you don't like it, I think Nate has 2 words for you.
Oh, suck it.
Listen, brother, the three of us at the Playerway Podcast are the new world order of podcasting, brother.
I think we should get back on topic because we don't want to break any hearts.
Yeah.
Man, we got the moves, and you know we're sexy.
Oh. I'm just a sexy
Okay.
boy.
All right, we got
Come on, all right, we gotta break these walls down and move on.
Oh man,
Yeah.
listen, I was trying to stop, but no chance is what we got. No
We don't want to
chance in
stun
hell.
anyone with this banter.
We can do this. And we're back from a technical difficulty. This conversation went on for another 60 minutes of World Wrestling Entertainment puns. And we're just going to go ahead and move on to the next part. We're going to move on to a different neighborhood altogether because when it came to what I did this week, I kind of spent some time avoiding race cars, aeroplanes in Duckburg. Because DuckTales, is back in 2017. Did you guys know about that?
Woo! DuckTales, huh?
DuckTales, the opening first episode of the new series, premiered on the 12th, and so I just got around to it this past weekend. And it's really what got me interested wasn't the idea that DuckTales was coming back. It wasn't just nostalgia. It was the fact that David Tennant, Danny Pudi, Ben Schwartz, Bobby Moynihan, Kate Michucci, Beck Bennett, Lin-Manuel Miranda, they're all on this show. This cartoon
The OGs?
on Disney XD. This is the cast of this American animated series.
You know what I would like to watch this on though, BK? If it was something out right now, you know what I would like to watch this on? I'm pretty sure that
Would it be a certain Netflix adversarial afternoon?
it might be. Here's all our shit.
Nate, give us the slogan.
Which one?
Disney
I
about
streaming.
Disney.
All right, Nate. Here's the setup.
Oh,
Disney
Disney,
streaming.
this is all our shit.
No, again, we got to set it up again. So go ahead. So, Derek, would you like to watch it on a certain Netflix adversarial afternoon?
I would love to see that byline slogan of
Disney, here's our shit.
Exactly, man. Yeah, I mean, DuckTales. What they did in Disney XD, they were really smart on getting the the cartoon out to everybody. What it is it was on YouTube, and what they did is they did a double episode for the pilot. So like halfway through the episode was like the remixed new theme song for DuckTales, and it was more. What's interesting is they did a bit of a prequel with the first episode, because DuckTales in the original show is like you had the theme song, and that was like that was kind of explaining how they kind of came together or whatever, and you see it. But then they just go on with the show as if they've always been together. How did Scrooge McDuck end up living with his nephews? You know, so they kind of explain that in DuckTales, and also explain that Donald Duck and Scrooge McDuck previously were like this kind of superhero
fandom, if you will.
Yeah, kind of like Batman and Robin, with Scrooge McDuck being the adventurer, the Harrison Ford type character. You know what I'm saying? The swashbuckler, the leading star.
He's a trillionaire. He is a trillionaire.
No. We're getting to that. We're getting to that because I got a little trivia for you. But yeah,
does he still swan dive into a pool full of gold coins?
Look,
and not break any bones.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, so it was actually really good. I encourage you guys. I mean, I know Derek, you got kids. It's free to watch on YouTube right now. The first episode. And it, like I said, because it's a double episode, it's like a little mini movie. So it's good, clean family entertainment that you can watch. And as an adult watching it's more intellectual than it used to be. So it's something that I found myself watching like 5 minutes, ended up watching 45 minutes of it.
Oh wow! All right,
yeah. So
that's something that's really helpful, especially I want to say 15, 20 years ago when those kid movies started actually having like adult writing in it, where the adults are going to be entertained while they're watching with their kids.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine in this day and age, especially with something like this.
Day and age, getting to it, today's day and age, TV is no longer the small screen anymore. Think about this: David Tennant is Scrooge McDuck. I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda is playing this character named Fenton, and I mean, and it's insane that like they got these level of actors to be on a show, like a kid show. It's just insane to me. I can't get past it. But I
was always
and David Tennant was Doctor Who,
exactly.
Kilgrave, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
I was always a fan of the DuckTales movie, the 1990 classic.
Oh.
Where he goes searching for the treasure of Kali Baba.
I'm telling you.
Oh.
And speaking of treasure, okay, check this out. And I probably should have started off the segment this way, but because of all the puns we were making, I had to kind of move on to the next thing. And so I completely forgot how I was going to set the segment up. So what I was going to say is, guys, who would you say of all time is the richest character ever invented?
Oh, now I see why you kind of had trivia.
Exactly.
I'm not going to answer because of what I said earlier. Unless you have the magic of editing and then you put this in front of that.
No, I won't do it that way. I'll make it organic. So obviously the answer is Scrooge McDuck. How much money do you think he has?
Well, how did they come to that conclusion?
I'm glad you asked, Nate. If you go on to Film Theorists, Disney XD, the company that created DuckTales, actually paid a YouTube channel to scientifically do the economics on identifying exactly how much money was in the vault that he swam through. So his actual
like
cash.
each Go coin being worth this, and it was this high.
Exactly.
And to have this,
well,
yes.
Disney XD is obviously out there asking the important questions. Of the world.
So, literally, when you're
Disney
printing money, you can research how much a cartoon character is worth based off of. Dude, that's awesome.
I'm telling you. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go on Disney XD.
I want to watch this
YouTube channel. And they actually have the Film Theorists, which the Film Theorists, they're a great YouTube channel anyway for film theory and finding out the things that don't make any sense and plot holes. They actually go through here and find schematics that were actually canon in the comic book series when DuckTales had a comic series, and showing you how big. I'm telling you how big this was. And they have four theories going to the most bottom dollar what he would have all the way up to something that doesn't make any sense. And then they show you all four theories, and what shakes out is based on a monologue that Scrooge McDuck has at the first episode of this new series. He tells you exactly how many $1 trillion he has. And what he says, I run a multi-trillion-dollar business. Scrooge McDuck in his vault has over $12 trillion in gold coins.
Well, look, I could
And that's
easily
just in the
come out with a
vault. He has
cartoon
that-
show with Stuffy McStufferson, who is a multi-trillionaire, with I don't know, some big...
A zillionaire.
Yeah, but see, I hear what
But
you're
when
saying.
you compare
but when
this
you
to
see-
everybody else, he can buy and sell every other rich billionaire that we have looked
Nate,
up
I
to.
hear what you're saying, but when you watch this video, you'll be like, holy shit.
Lisa-
Like, they actually did work to prove that this man made this kind of money and that he sustains this much. I mean, it's insane. So, yeah, if you need something to get lifted to and be able to say, hashtag hits blunt, ask question, this is the perfect thing to watch.
I don't know. This sounds like it was an enormous waste of time for these film theorists. They could have spent this working on a cure for rickets, is all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Can you?
Well, listen. While I don't have a cure for rickets, we all know that Disney, a.k.a. Marvel, came up with an amazing way to cure your boredom for this week, which is going to be, I think it deserves to be called the box office hustle for this week, even though it's a series, because Marvel Defenders came out, and let's hit that drop. Derek, you want to do that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the
Yes,
set?
can I have your attention, please? Box office. Hustle.
All right, it's time for the box office hustle.
All right, cut and print. Beautiful, guys.
Yeah, let's just do that.
So out of place.
Box office hustle. We are back once again, and Nate, take us through the Defenders, man. You made first, and before Nate starts, let's give a round of applause to Nate. Nate Diesel, man, made an amazing, breathtaking parody logo for the Playway Podcast. We do these parody logos, once every couple of months for really big blockbuster type of anticipations. And Nate did not disappoint. The Defenders is probably my favorite so far, man. I mean, this is breathtaking, man. Defenders is really good. What were you saying about it, Derek? Because Derek and I were talking about. He said he wanted.
I want that on a shirt. I want that on a hat. I need that on clothes. I need to wear that, and I want @corrupting system on the back of that. Like that logo is just so legit. I think I want the logo kind of like in a normal size on the front, and then large on the back with corrupted system at the bottom. Like that was just so. Nate, that was incredible. Like I was in the middle of bragging about it, and I was like, it looks like a professional. Oh wait, a professional did do this, and his name is Nathan Petersen.
I'm telling you, man, ladies and gentlemen,
incredible.
Nathan Petersen, take him on through the box office hustle, bruh.
First off, you guys are too kind. Thank you for the compliments. I still like my Game of Thrones one better. But, teach their own. Okay, so the Defenders, the culmination of what could possibly be called Phase 1 of Marvel's cinematic television universe, which let's be clear, this is not run by Kevin Feige at all. He has nothing to do with this.
Absolutely.
This is done by Jeff Loeb, who's had some messes, with Iron Fist being the last one. So this picks up right after Iron Fist. Then that's the first person we see, which to much
his favorite
disdain,
character
honestly. I was like, this shouldn't be the opening.
Well, and
you're like,
just,
grab my
Just
attention.
want to let you know, you are going. This is a spoiler cast, so if you don't want to know anything about what's going to happen with it, it's only 8 episodes long. Go watch it and then come back and hear our commentary on it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to run through the plot? Again, I
think what we would be better rather than running through the plot. Let's talk about the journey that the characters go on. And for me, this story was tailor-made and centered around Danny Rand. They realized that the showrunner didn't do such a great job with their intellectual property, and they worked really hard to rehabilitate him, even starting the series off with him. And and honestly, you feel like at the beginning of this series, all of the characters really pick on him, and he himself is exposed to not being the hero that he should be. I mean, even down to the fact that he's having a nightmare on a commercial flight, like on a private jet, and he's scared, and he looks like a little B.I.B.I. And yeah, he just.
Needless to say, yeah.
This is our hero.
I love the fact that every time he's like, "I am the immortal Iron Fist," everyone's like, "Huh? Like who? Defender of Kunlun."
This is my problem
I know the pizza
with
guy down the street better than you.
Iron Fist. Is I know they're trying to give off the sense like this guy's very naive, you know, he hasn't been raised in the world like we have.
But he's not stupid.
He doesn't understand. But all that being said, this guy was supposed to have spent like the last 15 to 20 years with a bunch of monks. Shouldn't he have some sort of like calm, you know, collected?
Well, and
like
I think
he shouldn't have these spazzes out like he normally does.
And apparently Marvel agrees with you because the way and the showrunners, they agree with you, and the writers, they agree with you too, because that rundown when he has with Luke Cage after that kid gets locked up, I mean, he comes. I was like, Rachel and I were watching. I was like, did they write that script like this week in response to what happened in Charlottesville? Because, geez, I mean, he comes out and says, you know, you're privileged, and he talks about his privilege as a white guy. And well, I think the reason why the rest of the Defenders worked so well is because not only were they ground level superheroes, but they dealt with while they were super powered human beings, their powers couldn't help them fight that invisible force, which is public perception and social interaction issues. And so the reason why I think the Iron Fist series didn't work so well is because it wasn't weighted with some sort of social issue, not really. And I think that conversation between him and that conflict that he and Luke Cage has, it kind of helps you understand what Danny's issue is always going to be, even though he spent all of this time in Kunlun, right? Is it Kunlun?
Kunlun.
And we're back from a technical difficulty. Sorry about that. I myself did that unintentionally, but my brothers have educated me, and certain racial epithets should not be. Let's just go on. What's the name of that city again? That he trained in? Kunlun. Okay, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, Kunlun.
I can't get past Kunlun.
I was gonna put in a joke that's probably where Black Dynamite was.
And we're back from another technical difficulty. Nate, come on, man. You're supposed to be the guy that gives us. Okay, so since Nate is the one that threw us under the bus this time, Derek, give us some sort of help through this tragedy.
We are not creating new areas of the Wakandan Empire and calling it Kunlun.
Shout out to Samuel L. Jackson for Black Pantherville, by the way. Guys, we're off the rails this week. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, what was my point? My point was that no matter what Danny does, because he was born into this entitled family, he will never be just leaving the planet and going into another dimension. When he comes back, he still gets to step right back into this
51%.
Into this access that the rest of the heroes don't have. Like, that's what they were telling him. You know.
Luke. Yeah, that's a great point. Sorry, man. I'm just
go ahead.
Like Luke. He had a whole previous life where one of the other characters of the Defenders killed his wife by being under control of something. So they have a deep-rooted human interaction.
Yeah.
Matt Murdock was a child who was blinded and raised by a very stern father figure on both sides, with his actual boxing dad as well
on
as
both
Stick.
sides.
And then
really,
when I say on both sides, like his biological.
Really?
Yes, both sides. I don't know what are you implying?
Listen. Look, we're not going to do that on our podcast. This both sides argument does not exist. Okay.
Many sides. Many sides.
Many sides. Really?
We are. It's too much.
But yeah, what Derek is getting. But anyway, all due respect,
it's just like all those other characters, like you said, they all were deep rooted in reality. We can relate. Like I may not be able to relate to a blind kid who was raised by a stick wielding ninja master, but I can relate to a kid who struggles. Jessica
you can't
Jones
relate
is
to
an
that,
adult
Derek?
who struggles.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, right. Jessica Jones is an adult whose life is a total mess, and I hate that she can never get her effing door fixed. Just fix your door, dude. Just fix it. Just go get or the hole in your wall. Like I hate that she's so disheveled, but there's people out there like
she's
that.
an alcoholic.
Luke Cage
She's a functioning
yes,
alcoholic.
Yes. Luke Cage has been literally in and out of prison. Literally in and out of prison. And a struggling black male, and he's just, and then you're right, Danny Rand steps into 51%, an immediate billionaire.
Yeah.
And
Has
yes, he lost his parents. I know.
Who instantly is
and
into him. Essentially, he bought his girlfriend.
Like,
I mean, let's not.
Yeah. And what's the deal? Is everyone get a 6-month free rent if you know Danny Rand? Everybody just gets that. He did the same thing with her. The only thing that made Luke start to listen to him was when he's like, look, my parents died. Luke was like, oh, let me hear this. And then he heard the rest of, and I stepped into this 51%. And Luke immediately lost interest and respect and then hit him with that privilege talk.
Yeah.
And
to the point where they tried to do it without him and try to tie him up and realize that they did need him after all. And they couldn't have done it without him. Like, regardless of, like, it's so weird, like, how, like, the Hand was society. And society had a preference toward caring about Danny Rand. And so even though the rest of the heroes really were more powerful than him and were better at this than him, had more experience than him, he still mattered to the Hand more than everybody else. And so it was interesting. It was just a really interesting allegory for what's going on out here in the world. As Marvel and Netflix continue to partner with this, if they continue to bring to the table these hard-hitting issues that the MCU can't really touch on because it caters to children, they're in a good shape, man. I mean, I'm really impressed.
That's well, I kind of changed this. One of my favorite things about the show is seeing these relationships play out. You know, as a fanboy, I know the bond that Luke Cage and Iron Fist have.
Yeah.
You know, and seeing like the start of it makes me happy.
Yeah,
Same
absolutely.
thing like seeing Murdoch and Jessica Jones play off each other. You know, that was what was exciting to me.
Okay, help me out here. Did I miss something? Did I go to the restroom at some point? But I didn't see the Punisher anywhere.
Nope.
I was kind of disappointed about that.
Especially with that little teaser that we talked about last week. Like, he was specifically in that third teaser at the end. Oh,
and he said something like, "Oh, I must have got here just in time." Right?
Yeah. So
yeah. I was watching the last episode and kept thinking, like, all right, this is it, you know, but no.
You see a bullet hits Luke Cage. Who the hell just shot me?
And honestly, after having watched it, I'm kind of glad he didn't show up. You know, like, it wouldn't have made sense for the story almost.
There's only one area where it does make sense, and I think that's what they're going to do. And it's with how Daredevil got out of the situation.
Yeah. And well, jumping back, you know, one of my high points for the show is I'm glad Luke Cage was sort of like the Captain America of the group. You know, he was the one that kept up with the morals, like, yo, we can't hurt people just because we can, you know, things like that. He has a moment, I think, in the second to the last episode where he's against like the plan, you know, that they all had.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And I also like how... See, I kind of feel
more
like...
so than Murdoch, I mean. You know, like, Murdoch, you could tell, is a broken man at this point. Like,
man.
He'll sort of do whatever he has to.
He plays that part so well. Well. Yeah, with you know, to piggyback off of Nate's point of Daredevil's pretty much a broken man. Murdoch's really a broken man. I just want to elaborate. Like, Charlie Cox plays this part so well. Seeing the evolution of him from Daredevil season 1 to Daredevil season 2 of he has a past that's right in front of his face that we see the shift, and then leading right into this one where he was adamant of, like, I'm even going to hide my face from these guys and I'm going to storm out of this Chinese restaurant that looks so delicious. I wanted to sit down at that table and eat with those guys. It looks so good. Talking about 4 of everything and, of course, another 6 months rent from Danny Rand. But just seeing him play this part, like I'm really impressed. You know, I mean, I had no idea who this guy was before Daredevil, but man, he plays this part so well. In my opinion.
He did. He really did. I can't get over how poetic the last couple of episodes are. It really helps unravel how all of this built up. It built up through first with Matt Murdock with Stick, then building into Elektra coming into the situation, then into Jessica Jones along with Luke Cage, and then finally into Iron Fist. So I love how when they kind of start to having the epilogue of everything, they really do a good job of giving and paying homage to the sacrifice of Matt Murdock character in Elektra Nachios, which I hate the way they pronounce her name. I feel like they could call her Elektra Nachios or something, so she wouldn't sound like a Taco Bell meal. But but no,
big box meal, man.
Exactly, but with extra cheese. But yeah, I mean, they just grating the cheese. But they
got a chicken parm on a date scene, but I don't even know the broad. She's just grating the cheese. Shout out to LD.
Exactly, Lil Diggy. Shout out to you. But no, I mean, it's
a horrible rat name. Got grown men out here calling you Lil Dicky, motherfucker.
Exactly. But they just do a really good job of just paying homage to those two characters in particular. And for the first time, I really felt like those characters did really love each other. Like, they nailed it really, really well. It was very genuine. The strongest actors ending and tying and bow tying up the series that way. The Hand was done really well.
Well, actually, that was one of my downfalls.
Really?
Show. I don't, Derek, do you mind if we delve into the back half of the series?
Go ahead, man.
So, the Hand's ultimate plan wasn't really a payoff for me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole point of them bringing down New York City is because they're going to have to excavate the dragon's bones, and that would lead to the structure of the city, causing the city to fall.
Yeah, what I think they were implying is that there's a lot more dragon bones underground, not just that one. So yeah, physically,
it's a little ridiculous. I was expecting more of some sort of like League of Shadows, like this city has run its course, we got to take it down before, corruption has run rampant in the city, things like that. That's what I was expecting more of. And maybe they didn't want to go that route since like Batman Begins did.
Yeah, and by the way, Derek didn't get through the whole series. So what we're doing is Derek is taking his earphones out. So if you hear Derek not talking, it's because Nate and I are having discourse back and forth. So we will give Derek kind of like a high sign that we're ready to talk about it. So so basically what's going on here is at the end of the series, and this is a spoiler, so we already told you it's a spoiler cast. What happens and what the big bad plan turns out to be is that they needed the Iron Fist's fist to break into this cave, this underground cavern that has all of the bones of the dragons. And dragon bones apparently in this universe gives you immortality. And it's also the dragon's heart, I think they said was the source of the Iron Fist itself, right?
Yeah, he had to stick his hand into
the dragon heart. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I like the. Okay, so let me ask you this: do you think the mythology is bad?
I don't know. It was just a payoff that, like, you spent seasons building up, like, why the Hand wants to or has to destroy New York City, and the payoff was because they want to dig up some dinosaur bones, and that in turn would cause the city to crumble. Was one of those like, maybe it was just my own personal opinion because I was expecting like a League of Shadows. We got to bring this city down because it needs to.
Here's okay. So before we go any further. So you do or don't have a problem with the mythology of the dragon bones giving you immortality?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, again, that seems all made up to me. I don't think.
So okay. So with you being a comics purist, you had a problem with that because that just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it seemed like a dumb plan, like a dumb effect
because they
to a
didn't.
cause.
Yeah, because throughout the rest of the series, at no time are people trading dinosaur relics at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what your issue was. It's like it's not a bad mythology. It came out of nowhere. Like there was no hint that this is what this was about.
Well, I mean, there was setup in seasons 1 and 2 of Daredevil. You know, season 1 they were trying to get the properties necessary. Season 2, you find out they're digging like a huge hole. Okay,
we knew that. Yeah.
And then we get Iron Fist. You find out the Hand have infiltrated like areas of the city, and you're expecting like why? Oh, for fucking dinosaur bones. Okay. You know, like the immortality stuff. That's cool. I'm down with that. But
here's how I take it. Here's how I take it, honestly. And maybe this will make sense to you. Okay, it's my understanding that wasn't what the overarching plan was. What happened was Sigourney Weaver's character used up a lot of resources to create this thing called the Black Sky, which turned out to be Elektra.
Yeah.
And by creating she basically pulled rank on the rest of the Hand, which they're all supposed to be pretty much balanced in who runs it. Like they're supposed to be the different fingers of a fist. So not one, yeah. I mean, I guess you could call her the thumb, if you will, since she's the strongest finger. But she pulled rank on the rest of the Hand. And so I think what happened is that was not what the plan was. I think there was an overarching plan. I think there was an overarching plan. But when they start the series, you find out that Sigourney Weaver's character, she's about to die. Like somehow she doesn't have enough of this mineral to keep her alive and keep her immortal, so she's dying. So I think what she does is she intentionally derails the plan from what it was actually supposed to be, and it kind of fucks everything up for everybody else, and it takes them off balance of what they were trying to accomplish. Like she really did reach around her back to touch her elbow because she was trying not to reveal to everybody that she was weak because she knew somebody would try to usurp her. So what she does is she uses a lot of resources to get the dragon bones and makes it out to be something that it's not, which is why the rest of the Hand is like, this was totally not necessary. Like all of this, and I think they tell us that throughout the series, but we don't understand how big of a deal this was. And I think because Sigourney Weaver's character got killed off, they never had that conversation of like, you did all that just to get the dragon bones? Like you couldn't just tell us that? Like this is not the plan. The plan
that would have been great if they had a scene like that.
And I think that's and I think that is what it was supposed to be. I think you're right in that wasn't what the plan is. It's real obvious that Elektra's just kind of, she's just moving around. She doesn't know what's behind the wall either. And she's just trying to figure out what it is. I don't think that's what the real plan was, and I think you get the feel that that's not really what the plan was from the old lady. What's her name again?
Madame Gao.
Yeah, Madame Gao kind of reveals like this is the end. Like this wasn't what the plan was, and because we didn't stand together, we're not going to get to where we were supposed to be. So I think their plan was foiled. I think we won't know what the real plan was, and I think that's the whole idea of finding Daredevil where he is when he wakes up. I think there's something else going on that we still don't know about.
Actually, no, that's set up for I don't know if you've ever read the Born Again storyline.
No, I haven't.
Frank Miller's. So you know how she yell or tell Maggie?
Yeah.
So Maggie is his mom. And she was sort of a big part of the Born Again storyline, which I think is what season 3 is going to be about, like Kingpin trying to unravel Matt Murdock's life.
Yeah. So I think you agree that it's not bad mythology, it's just there wasn't enough explaining of what happened.
Yeah, maybe it was the couple years of build-up. You
Yeah.
know, the hours of episodes I've watched. It kind of made me seem like, God, fucking dinosaur bones? Like, where's Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
Honestly, where's Sam Neill?
Honestly, I hear where you're coming from, but I think all of the Hand's plans, and I did not mean to rhyme all of that. I think all the plans of the Hand, that's not better either. I think all of the planning and scheming went away the moment that Elektra stabbed Sigourney Weaver in the chest and took over. So it was real obvious that, we're off the rails now. Like, it was just, that wasn't the plan. It was obvious that was not what their plan was to begin with, and we'll never know what it was. I got the feeling that what the plan was it was a 2-phase. The first phase was to get the dragon bones, and the second phase was to bring Kunlun to the Earth and make New York the new Kunlun. I thought that's what the plan was, because they kept saying the plan was to get back home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That'd be a better payoff for me.
And they said New York has to fall as a result.
Yeah.
It's just you never, and I think the reason why they didn't completely spoil it is because they're leading up to it. But I get that in the moment, it's like this is all it was for them to just, okay, that's kind of stupid, and I get it. I could totally feel that, and I could totally understand that why you would feel that way.
Yeah.
And we're waving Derreck back on to come back onto the show. All right, we're done with the spoiler stuff for you.
You're good, man. I appreciate that. Hey.
So overall, what do you guys feel? Was this series worth the wait?
I think the series had definitely more high points than low points for me. It was fun to see these guys on screen together. Some of the fight scenes in the back half were a little like, oh man, this could have been a lot cooler.
Really? I felt like there was some badass.
Well, I don't know. Like, that best fight scene to me was that first boardroom scene.
That was a
like
good
in episode
fight.
3 or 4.
That was a good
and then,
fight.
Like,
You mean the
fight
other
in
hallway
the
fight
restaurant.
scene?
First of all,
Shout out to Alex Maldonado,
that
by the
boardroom fight, yes, Alex, that boardroom fight scene leading to the whole, and I love just the slight bits of humor. Like, I've seen what you do, I have proof, and then smash the camera, and the fact that he runs up 30 flights of stairs, and then Jessica Jones is just getting off the elevator.
I love it.
Chill out.
I love that.
Like, first of all, let's give a shout out to how conditioned Matt Murdock is. The fact that he ran up all those flights of stairs and then had the hardest fight out of everybody.
Yes.
Literally the hardest fight out of everybody.
I love that. Like, even though he's technically the weakest out of everybody, like in terms of physical strength, he's the most athletic of everyone.
Man,
like he's the one. Like, you could tell that
if he trained Luke and Jessica,
you could tell that he's the only one that could actually keep up with Elektra in a weird way. And it's because his fighting style bridges on being precognitive. It's not that he's incredibly strong; it's that he already knows where you're going to hit before you hit, so he hits you before you get there.
And plus, whenever you
like
get those
juices
juices and berries, man, you kind of know how people are going to act.
Now, Nate said something about Stick. Now, let's talk about some of the things that we did not like so much. Now, Derreck, this won't ruin anything for you, honestly.
I still just want to point out that he fought her good because he got those juices and berries in a past life, so he knows what was going to happen. He knew. He did. That was a good he had that precog ability. But what did you not like, Nate?
No, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you the thing I had a problem with, and this won't ruin anything for Derreck at all. What I was upset with was if you create a gas to knock somebody out and you inhale the gas, you have to fall on the ground too. That doesn't ruin anything for you, Derreck. It really doesn't.
Maybe Stick
when it happens, you're gonna be like,
on his own.
But what if you're immune?
Yeah.
What if you're immune to said gas? Is it a possibility that this guy
just watch it, bro? Just watch it. You'll know exactly what we're saying.
Oh, okay.
It's just
stupid.
It's literally stupid. It doesn't make. It's the biggest plot hole of the whole season.
Let me talk about this one other thing that I saw in there that. First of all, I've realized over the years that I've come to hate simulated phone images on a phone in a movie or a TV show. I hate the fact that Danny
like House of Cards does it the best, in my opinion.
I hate the fact that Danny Rand pulled out his phone and then his contact says Rand Industries and he calls and says, "Hello, this is Danny Rand." But you own 51%. You don't have a personal line, dude. Like, you have to call the 800 number and go through the phone tree.
That's not nearly as bad. Look, that's not nearly. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And since when can a guy storm in and say, "I demand to see all the CEOs of this company"? Oh, okay, right this way, sir.
I was gonna say the screenshots of phones is not nearly as bad as the ones on Dexter. Dexter's had the most cringe-worthy, like, this is terrible.
Oh.
Did you have to show that? I think it would have been better just to say, "Hey, hello, Deb," instead of showing the phone because it was terrible. Yeah. It's like, no phones look like this ever. Have never in life looked like this.
God.
I will say this. Speaking of Danny Rand and Derreck earmuffs, you had a moment at the end of the fucking series to put him in a suit. Like, give him the fucking goddamn
Yeah,
suit.
dude.
You know, give him a mask. I don't care if he's wearing regular clothes.
You know what?
You had that moment at the end where he has the fist. He's overlooking the city.
Look,
give him a fucking mask.
You know what
already.
really grinds my gears is that Matt Murdock had more of a Iron Fist costume on than Danny Rand did when he had the scarf that ran down his back in the boardroom scene. I was like, that's for Danny.
You're a billionaire. You can't be running around fighting crime without a mask.
I think they're going to get at that. I think they're going to get at that now that he's decided. I think what they're going to allude to, and they kind of did allude to, is that Daredevil inspired him. And they kind of get at that where he's on top of the roof and he's like running around. He's mimicking Daredevil. So I think what they're going to do is he's going to take over like Daredevil.
No, I agree. And again, that would be an appropriate moment to finally give him a mask.
Yes, finally.
All right.
All right, Derek's back from earmuff duty. Yeah, so
I am.
Yeah, so yeah, I did like that when because we were talking a little bit about costumes. Obviously, Jessica Jones, they've handled that with her. She's not into that at all. I did like that Luke Cage had the yellow shirt and the black pants on, and even his hoodie.
I like
had
his
the
hoodie
yellow
too. The hoodie with the yellow lining.
Yeah, I love that. So I love that he has his costume on throughout the series for the most part. So I thought it was okay. I thought that was. And
good. Danny had like I feel like his clothes usually centered. Every day, whenever he's casual, he had that green. At least that.
Well, Derek, I can't wait till you listen to the episode and hear your comment and after what we just talked about.
Oh
no! So anyway, you're just gonna have to listen to episode 18 of
The Player Way.
That's right, The Player Way.
Hey, man, don't forget. While we're running through this heck of a box office hustle, man, we did have a Player Way exclusive happen this week. Exclusive.
The Player Way.
Exclusive. Shout out to my good friend Rick Moore. He hit me up actually last Sunday when we were going over show notes and said he had a couple tickets to a pre-screening of American Assassin, and at the time I had no idea what it was. It didn't ring a bell or anything, and as I started watching the movie, it still didn't ring a bell until I got to one part in the movie where I connected it to a trailer that I'd seen, of course, of the same movie, obviously. And, but I still didn't remember anything what the movie is about. So it was a rare opportunity that I got to watch a movie that I didn't remember anything it was about. Didn't know who was in it, didn't know what was going to happen other than the introduction from like the director and a couple of the actors before the movie started, since this was this was only through 16 theaters across the United States on that night, and they had the actors. Let's see, the director in there. What's his name? Mitch, the guy who plays Mitch Rabb, Dylan O'Brien, and Taylor Kitsch were the guys that were talking on this. And this was an incredible action spy thriller. Like, this was awesome. This was an awesome movie. I don't really want to. Like, you guys, I know you guys are familiar with the movie, so I'm going to touch on the major parts of it, but this is definitely a must-see. This comes out September 15th, I believe. I say I believe. I know for a fact. I wouldn't have said that. It comes out September 15th, and I will go see it again that opening weekend because, man, I mean, action-packed, dialogue, the acting. Michael Keaton ages so well, and his acting is just coming. Like, after seeing Vulture, after seeing The Founder, after seeing this, man, he's really found his niche again, and
he really
it's good. Man, and this movie, just him running a super secret squad of these assassins, and man, Sanaa Lathan, oh my God, she is just so good. She's always been
Trelescent.
That's right, and shout out to Sanaa Lathan when I saw her last week in Blade 20 years ago as Blade's mother. But
it's like she got to a certain age. It's like she really is
stopped
Blade's
aging.
mother. Like
she is. She looks the same as she did.
She got in the first Blade movie, and she has not aged a single day.
Not even after dealing with predators and aliens and
all of that, bro.
Took
those same.
Yeah. But dude, this movie, man.
Go ahead, Nate. Give it to us. You heard it right here. It's Nate approved.
Man, this is definitely a must see. This is definitely a must see. That weekend, I highly recommend this as a must see for you guys. The action scenes are ridiculous. They're all over the world. It grabs your attention, and you have no choice but to be involved in this movie, and you get what this guy's coming from. And I didn't know that this was a book series that started almost 20 years ago. I mean, there's almost, I want to say there's 16 or so books that surround Mitch Rapp, who's the guy that Dylan O'Brien plays. And I'm very interested in this character. I might definitely start getting some of those just because this. And a cool thing about it is, as Mitch Rapp and Taylor Kitsch were talking about this after the movie. Fun fact, Taylor Kitsch was drunk as expletive trying to talk about this movie, fielding questions from the audience. So that was kind of a disaster. I recorded some of that. I might send that to you, BK, just so you can hear some of that ridiculous audio.
That's awesome.
I got you about 15 minutes of that. But hearing Dylan O'Brien talk about this, because he didn't realize it was a book series when he got the script, and he said in the middle of filming he would go through read these while in between like shots and everything, and just to even delve into this character more. And he plays this character so well. I mean, it is a really, really good movie. I mean, once again, thanks to Rick Moore for even inviting me along for me to go see this. I'm glad I was able to bring it to the Player Way podcast a month before this movie comes out. I assure you that will be a poppin' movie that weekend. And when we get a little bit closer, we'll go ahead and play that Gentleman's Bet music once we get closer to that weekend.
Absolutely,
that is definitely something you guys need to see.
Absolutely.
And before we get thing to hear that Taylor Kitsch is still working. I'm not going to sit up here and let you talk about Tom Sawyer from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in such a way. Oh, no, that was that was Shane West. That wasn't Taylor Kitsch.
Exactly. There can only be one Jake Gyllenhaal, and that's me, Tobey Maguire.
Who was Tim Riggins in Friday Night Lights? That's how I remember him.
Yes, I remember that. What was that movie where he went to Mars? Was it like John Connor?
No, John Carter in a House of a Thousand Corpses.
Listen, I am Cara Delevingne, and I don't move in the theater anymore, and you guys still make fun of me from week to week to week. Okay? You're not going to sit there and make fun of me.
I don't know how you keep getting on these chats, Cara Delevingne, but you need to go home somewhere and go match your eyebrows, get them lined up. But
got to boot her off the show.
Anyway, yeah.
So just to tie up the American Assassin, you said absolutely, if you want to have an amazing time, go watch this movie. Can you give us some comparisons, like something else that, because they haven't really, they've shown some trailers, but since it's at that part of the year where school is starting again, and they know they're not going to get that summer blockbuster afterglow at all anymore, and it's all about looking forward toward October and looking at all of the scary movies coming out, you know, they're kind of allowing this to be something that the more conservative crowd can go and watch and have fun with, or a guy who is single right now and can't afford to take their girl out because they don't have one. So this is a good movie to buddy up by yourself on and practice self-love, you know. So give us some comparisons that this movie is about for those lonely guys out there.
What I would say for those lonely guys out there, I guess, as I already prefaced how the action level quality, but this movie gives you that kind of real raw feeling and emotions while you're watching it. Like when I say you connect with the characters, similar. A movie that popped into mind while I was watching this was Alpha Dog. How you just go through the entire movie and you get to know these characters, and then you kind of relate to them, and then when it goes down, you're like, I'm kind of sick to my stomach, and I feel like I'm holding a shovel and I need to get to work too. That's how I felt in Alpha Dog. I'm like, I literally just witnessed a murder and I need to go report what I saw, but these guys might get me. Like when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, this is like these guys. It went down. Like I'm like. The realism, like the attention to detail for to quote Metal Gear, CQC in this movie is next level. If you don't know what CQC, that's an acronym for Close Quarters Combat. And when I say Close Quarters Combat, dude, this Iron Fist from Kunlun.
And we're back we're back from a technical difficulty. Listen. Let's leave Black Pantherville alone. Okay, let's leave it alone. Nate, you got a disclaimer for us before you make your point.
No, because I was a part of this.
Give us this disclaimer
I
for
think
the
you had something to
this
say
nation.
before he dropped that, and we're just going to ignore that. We're just going to move on to the next thing.
I was going to say, is it very like John Wick-esque, you know?
John
gunfighting
esque?
Yeah, John. Oh, what did I say?
Not to be
John
confused
Wisk,
with the Pillsbury Doughboy with
just
the
battering
egg
eggs.
in his hand. John Wick.
No, that's a movie I want to see. John Wisk.
Yes.
Yo, we got the giggles on this episode, man. There's like so many jokes. Shout out
John
to 562 Comics, by the way. 562 Comics, man. We got a little drop for you later in the show. But, man, like, listen, if you love this show, we don't try to be funny. This is just us, man. We just are talking. Hopefully you guys got to get something out of the different reviews we've made. Hopefully you have as much fun as we're having, because I'm telling you, this show is funny to me. I don't know about you guys.
I'm entertained whenever I listen to it. Always. But to get, I guess, back on somewhat track, earlier you said we're derailed, but I don't even think we're anywhere near any railroad tracks. So we're just off-roading this train thing. But yes, John Wick, Jack Reacher, if he was even more highly trained, those style fighting, but even on a grander scale, more espionage.
If I may be so bold as to invoke the spirit of Liam Neeson, little throat punching action.
Yeah, I would go with that.
To me, the coldest close quarter fight scenes ever was in the original Taken. I'm telling you,
this is tantamount to that. This is tantamount. All right, this is tantamount to that. How Taken was, but even more on the espionage.
Them Ruth Chris Steakhouse words.
Yeah, this is that type of. Yes. September 15th, boys. Enjoy this movie. I assure you that you will.
Well, listen, I hope that I have the consternation to wait for that movie to come out.
Spell prestidigitation. Shout out to Lawrence Fishburne in the spelling bee.
Shout out to multisyllabic words right now, because we are getting them all in.
Oh,
exactly.
Man, this guy. You're such a sesquipedalian.
Oh, it tings the nostrils.
60% of the time.
It works every time. And speaking of working every time, we got to give ourselves an opportunity to have a little bit of marketing. That's right. It's time for the part of the show where we talk about PlayLifeYourWay.com. PlayLifeYourWay.com is the sponsor of the Play Away podcast. It is the place where we live. Woo is where we at. Woo, 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 woo. And shout out to at 562 Comics, because we got to give you a shout out. 562 Comics has way more followers than us on Instagram, and where a lot of other nerdgasm type of shows and podcasts would not want to reach out to us. This is a guy who listens to our show and kind of reached out to us and said, listen, let's help get you guys some views. Let's help get some people out there. So shout out to you, man. I mean, 562 Comics reminds you that if you have amazing content, if you work hard at it, even if you don't have all of the followers can come to you. So while we are not trying to plug ourselves by any means at the moment, although we kind of are, and we're trying to convince you that we're not, so that you can feel like we're grassroots and all of those hipster types words, shout out to 562 Comics. You are doing friendship
the player way.
Exactly. So, hopping over to PlayLifeYourWay.com, the Play Your Way Network. Derek, what do we got on the website today, man?
Right now, of course, by this time, you'll have episode 18 right here at the top of the list with the most recent reviews. We have a review from Alex Maldonado, our lead writer on the site, Annabelle Creation, going in a little more detail from episode 17. So that's a good piggyback there. But I would like to just, as you said, I have no problem shamelessly plugging us. I want to give ourselves a shout out.
Absolutely.
Because we did the inaugurational. I don't even know if that's all a word, but it sounds kind of legit to me.
Inaugural.
The strategery of my sentence said All joking aside, as we say, we're trying to curate your media the player way. We are curating your media the player. I say try. We are succeeding at doing that. If you're following our guide, the guidings of your 3 co-captains here, we're doing that for you. But there's things that happen outside of your media. There's things that they're legit.
Well, and
hardcore,
not every
personal.
And to your point, not everything in the media is entertainment based. Some things some things in the media can be talking about military operations. It can be talking about politics, and it can be talking about race relations. And this past week, what Derek is getting at is we spent some time deciding that with all of the things that were happening, we made a little joke in episode 17 about Nate possibly not being back with us again, because at that particular time we thought the worst thing that could happen to us is a threat from Kim Jong-un threatening the eastern seaboard, or the western seaboard, if you will. But in that time since, something a little bit more disgusting, while the stakes are obviously not as high as nuclear war, the intent of the actions of the people involved are a lot like those enemies that the defenders can't fight. With all the superpowers they have, with all of the comedy, and with all of the wherewithal that we have here on the Playaway Podcast, we cannot fight hate. Not directly, at least. We can't identify it unless it decides to take its white hood off and scream with tiki torches in the middle of town, and that's exactly what happened in that period of time. And so, without getting too political on the podcast right now, because that's not really what you turn this on for, needless to say, we at the Playaway Podcast, 3 different men of very different cultures and races, and not just 3 different races, multiple different races, we all stand against hate on any front. And so we feel like if you decide that you want to take away the rights of other people, who are you to be protected? And that's what we talked about, that and many other things. We talked about privilege. We talked about how people of different races can come together and stand against hate on our inaugural town hall meeting live on YouTube, and we also put links up on Facebook as well. It is still up on our YouTube page. You can go on YouTube and search for the Play Your Way Network or Play Your Way Podcast, or you can go to our the easiest way is to go to our Facebook page, Play Your Way Network. It is on our wall there, or you can go to playlifeyourway.com and we will have the links there. I'm looking at trying to turn it into a podcast town hall episode on our YouTube page and on our iTunes page as well. But if it doesn't quite get there, it's probably because some of the interference that you get with doing a Google Hangout from time to time. But anyway, just wanted to take a pause for the cause. Derek, I appreciate you for initiating that toss in on that, because that is something that is important. And we want to go ahead and kill hate, give it a moment of silence this week. Moment of silence for the people at Charlottesville that decided that they wanted to get all the tiki torches. Moment of silence for you, because even Tiki didn't want to be a part of you. Tiki went on Twitter and said that we stand against hate and we do not endorse any level of hate. Even if you go out and buy our torches, that's not what they were intended to be for. So shout out to the Charlottesville Nazis and whatever you want to call yourselves, because
shout out to them ruining it for any person who wants to spice up their backyard, and we'll get a side look from the employees at Lowe's and Home Depot.
You want to go grab one and they just give you a
You know what? I'll build my own. I'll build my own. It's okay. Let's just get some small little butane lighter. Yes, you know what? I'm just gonna go right now. Just give me the patio furniture.
Like, from now on, if you ever show up anywhere with a tiki torch, you will be kicked out of the luau.
Get out.
What are you doing?
But we're in Hawaii. I don't even care. Get out.
But it's a luau theme. What's a luau without tiki torches? Get out.
Yeah. Did you have to bring it, Steve? Steve, you had to bring those, huh? You just had a lot of them at your house, didn't you? It would be Steve. Somebody come look at this. Come look at this.
You are too much. You are something else.
They are
Steve.
something else.
Steve over here with the tiki torches. I got
we got we called it a town hall. I'll just move right back in because we got to bring in. We had BK running the show. We had your lead executive producer, your co-executive producer right here corrupting the system. But we also had our lead writer, Alex. We had the Wolf, Ian, on there. And we had trendy cosplayer, Darius Prather, on there, all talking about these issues. So that's something that we're going to try to get out to. You'll still be able to curate that.
The Player Way.
The Player Way. And we have several outlets for you to access to that because... as you said, BK, you said it the best, man. Media is not always about
entertainment.
Seeing what's on Netflix. Yeah, it's not always. Yeah,
Nate, you got a moment of silence for you? I started off a moment of silence before I got wound up in my feelings.
No, actually, it's
right. Nate's over there researching some information on Kim Jong-un. Nate is just really trying to gather his thoughts. He's stormed off right now. He's throwing his headset down. I can see him in his apartment beating his
wondering where is Ja Rule at a time like
screaming
this.
Why? He looks like he's screaming why.
He's screaming
why?
Where is Ja Rule right now? Where is Ja?
Where is Ja?
Where is Ja?
Wilma.
In my race against time, can't stop running through the red lights, living my life.
Yes! Nathan, you are amazing.
That's one of the first hip-hop CDs I ever bought was Ja Rule's Bitty Bitty Beachy.
You have no idea how much that tickled Derek and I both. That song has so much significance.
Yes. One of the best references of Fast and the Furious that we have used since that came out.
Oh. Well, if there is nothing else for the good of the order, let's talk about what you guys coming up this week.
I'll go.
No!
No, hold on. Okay, hold on, wait a minute. We just screwed up. We were going to actually try to end the episode without a gentleman's bet. Let's get this going right quick.
Bets. Place your bets here. We got a gentleman bet right over here. Let's get it going, boys.
Yeah, it's time for the gentleman's bet. And the thing that we didn't talk about, we didn't have a sports rundown this week. And you want to know why? We held off talking about the NFL and everything else in sports because the most important, the summer blockdown, the summer sports blockbuster, okay? Mayweather versus McGregor. It is going down. That is what the gentleman's bet is this week. And here are the stakes. Gentlemen, on the way to your houses right now is what we call the nuclear spicy ramen. Okay, there is something that is taking the interwebs by storm, and it is called the nuclear ramen challenge. It is supposedly, I think it's over 2,000 Scoville units. It may be 4,000 Scoville units.
No, I think this one's
8,000 Scoville units. It is 2 times the spiciest Shin Ramyun recipe. It is going to your houses right now. I've already sent it through Amazon. Here's what's going down. If you lose, if you bet on the wrong guy, you will have to get on YouTube and do the nuclear spicy ramen challenge.
I'm in.
I'll answer for Nate. Yeah, I'm in.
For the record, look, I deal with very bad acid reflux in my life.
He's coming out
I
with
have
every
to stay away from a lot of spicy foods. This sounds like this will give me an ulcer, but I'll do it.
Do you really have acid reflux, like really bad?
Yeah, man, I take Previses every day.
Wow, I have it too. I do have it. I don't have it as bad though. I have it because I eat too much. I'm a bit of a fat ass. But
my body is prone to.
But I mean, we'll get down.
Well, I'll fucking do it. I'll take a sip, and that's it.
Well, you have to get at least a couple bites in. A couple bites, and then you can puke it up. Ugh. You can puke it up!
Oh, yeah, that's great, because I am a pretty big fan of bulimia. So.
And we're back from that technical difficulty. Man. I'm going to give this myself because both of these gentlemen were a part of this problem. I am a part of the solution. I am not a problem solver. I am a finder of solutions. And the solution is that the Playaway Podcast does not endorse binging and purging. However, Nate, if you lose, you
Unless
will be
it's
binging
television
in person.
related.
Just want to let you know. It's going down.
Definitely.
It's going down.
Yeah.
A logical progression.
Act 20, Act 20.
Line.
I'm telling you.
Narrowed down to a fine line.
Hey,
Take
to
you
blend
on
together
an
so they
audible
blend together
odyssey.
properly.
And-
Take you on an audible odyssey.
Exactly.
Now
And
what's
listen,
going
you
down?
don't have to worry about eating them if you bet on the right guy. So let's get on
nice,
with it.
Nate.
Let's get on with it.
Well, yeah, so we got a 50% chance of winning.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
I like
right,
them.
so
So
are
you're
you gonna
telling me
take
there's a chance.
There's a chance.
So we have a guy who's undefeated in boxing that has beat every person he's stepped in the ring with, versus a guy who has never been in a legitimate boxing match in his life. Correct, BK?
I'm not going to say
in his
correct
life?
on that because
You don't.
okay,
We're not sure.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Not
I'll tell
that
you
we
what we're
know
going to do because we're about to get into some analysis. We started off talking about the gentleman's bet. We did that drop before this one. It's time for the sports rundown real quick.
Yes, it's time for the Sports Rundown, brought to you by the Playaway Podcast. Take it away, gentlemen.
It's time. It's time.
I 20, I 20.
Your starting lineup.
Your new heavyweight
It's time.
It's time for the sports rundown.
All right, so we're going to the sports rundown real quick because Derek asked me a question, and it was a very offensive question. It basically, he tilted it. We already know who he is betting for. He's trying to tilt it in his favor, saying that Mayweather is the only person who's been in a legitimate fight, when in actuality, the only person who's been in a legitimate fight is Conor McGregor. Yes, I'm going for the Great White Hope. Yes, call me Uncle Tom if you want to. I'm going for the Irishman, okay? This man has been in actual real fights versus a man who has only run away from real fights in his entire career, and he's really good at it, but there's not going to be any...
And where is Conor fighting
He's
him
fighting
at,
him in the
though?
ring. He's doing
Is
it
he
live.
he fighting him in the octagon? Is he fighting him in the
is
dark
fighting him
alley?
in the look,
Are the
he is
gloves
fighting
off?
him in the same...
He's fighting him in the ring that Floyd has done this 42 times? 44 times? No, 49 times.
49 times.
49 times. This is going to be his 50th win in the ring, in my opinion.
Hold on for a second.
But I kind of want to see Conor catch him. I'm not going to lie. I want to see Conor catch him.
Listen. He is
I wanna
fighting
see
him.
Conor
Look,
catch him.
He is fighting. He's so stupid. Derek is doing the Conor McGregor dance right now. But listen, you can't try to jump ship right now because you asked me where is he fighting him. He's fighting him in the same squared circle that Thunder Lips, the Ultimate Man, fought the Ultimate Meatball, and we know how that turned out. Rocky got beat down by Terry Bollea. Hashtag Hulk Hogan. Hashtag Hollywood. Hashtag the NWO leader, brother. Okay, I'm telling you, Conor McGregor is going to do the same thing to Mayweather that Hulk did to the Ultimate Meatball. Okay, so
Hashtag sex tape
hey,
extraordinaire.
listen, that's what I'm telling you, man.
140
He's a spicy meatball. I'm telling you, Conor McGregor's got it, bro. Conor McGregor, listen, Conor McGregor don't care. Conor McGregor knows. Here's the strategy. He knows that he can't outbox. He's not going to be able to outbox Mayweather.
He's gotta
okay?
go for a quick
What he's going to
knockout.
do, he knows he only has a couple of rounds. He's going to go in there and give him a, hey, woman. Okay, he's going to go in there and do the same thing Crumble Lane did. He's going to knock his block off before he has a chance to get his little rhythm.
And in the mail right now, BK knows that I have sent him some Pepto-Bismol and Rolaids and Tums.
Actually, if
So
you
when
want
he
a
eats
good
these noodles-
antacid, Prevacid is your best.
I know y'all gonna.
How much are they paying you, Nate?
Y'all gonna disrespect me. I am the MMA dude on here. Y'all gonna sit up here and disrespect me?
Yes, you are the MMA dude. You're not the boxing dude. And
Listen,
Floyd is the
look,
boxing
I'm
dude.
the one that bought
49
y'all
and
the
0.
ramen. Okay, y'all
49
are
and 0.
welcome. Y'all enjoy that. It's on its way to your house right now.
I'll enjoy the ramen at my leisure. It won't because I lost the bet.
Look,
call me crazy for thinking that the man who's 49 and 0 with 26 knockouts, playing in the sport that he became 49 and 0, might be able to beat the guy that's younger than him. I know.
By
He
12
might be
years.
able to beat. He might be able to beat the guy who just isn't. He just doesn't have the muscle memory. I mean, he's fighting him in a boxing.
you know what I think y'all should do?
boxing
Instead
match.
of paying for the pay-per-view, y'all need to go buy several gallons of milk. Okay, I heard it's really good on coating your throat when you're eating hot, spicy stuff. Okay, so just get ready.
I'm not a big fan of drinking liquid from a cow that I don't need to be drinking.
So enjoy that. Enjoy that. Bread I also heard is really good as well. Okay.
I only drink the finest breast milk.
Yeah.
Breast-
Breast milk.
Yes.
You made my day.
Here's the thing. Like, honestly, there's that there's that aspect. Like, I want to see Conor win. I do, just because of the spectacle of it. But just the rational side of me, I just can't not think that Mayweather would. You know what I mean?
He's a very defensive boxer. And that's
very
okay. So here's what it's,
and that
so
would
essentially
play in his
it's,
benefit.
it's the two co-captains versus.
Whoa!
Oh,
Nate,
a new challenger.
Plus
Sento Kaishi.
Let's run it down here.
12-year
age difference.
Mm-hmm.
Heights around the same. Weights around the same. Reach. Conor McGregor has a 2-inch reach over Floyd Mayweather. I don't know. I'm with you. I want to see McGregor beat Mayweather, but
I really want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mayweather will just win on technical.
Okay,
expertise.
so let's without being too silly, let's get this as an actual analysis. Okay, so here's what's going on. You got a guy who is probably the fastest hands in boxing at his weight right now, even being 40. Okay, even being in his 40s. Okay. Yeah. Versus a guy who really isn't a real boxer. All of the memes that you've seen of him doing stuff that doesn't make any sense, he's doing those things. Okay, so what you got, a guy who's basically going to probably try to brawl this thing versus a guy who is going to actually try to counterpunch. It realistically, the person who has all of the tools and will be an idiot if he loses this thing is Floyd Mayweather. That's why he's favored. At least the last time I looked at it, 300, negative 300. So what my thing with this is that all Mayweather has to do, to quote Hajime no Ippo, shout out to anybody who's a fan of that series, is take him out into the deep water. All he's got to do is run away from Conor McGregor long enough for Conor McGregor to get himself tired out. And the only thing that Conor McGregor can either do is quit or get knocked the fuck out. So I don't think that Conor McGregor has the cardio to go 12 rounds. I just don't think he does. However, I do believe that Conor McGregor's stamina, his style is so different than what Mayweather has been used to. We all know that Floyd Mayweather is a counter fighter and can be it takes him a couple rounds to get out of the blocks. It takes him some time to really get an idea of what your fighting style is like. Any guy that's ever knocked his block off, which a couple of guys have, it was because he didn't quite have their style imprinted. But anytime he went to fight them again in a rematch, he had already knew their style and he had it imprinted down, and then he was able to get around that. So again, if the keys to victory in this particular situation, in the scenario where Conor McGregor wins, if he comes out like a rabid dog, has really good head movement, is avoiding the shots, and is able to get off those lucky shots that he is signature known for, and not going to do the fuck out. He did it with Nate Diaz, and he can do it again.
I feel like that's how he's going to run out to do.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what he said he wanted to do. He wanted to knock him out in like 2 rounds or a
exactly.
Round.
So that's basically what's going down. I personally want to see Conor McGregor do this because inside myself, it's not about these two men, it's about the sports that they represent. And in my opinion, MMA is the next evolution of the sport. If Conor McGregor loses this fight, it's not good for the UFC. It gets more eyeballs on the sport, but it tells what every dude in the barbershop that I hear talking, man, Mayweather's the real fighter. Who is this other dude? The people who don't really watch MMA, that don't really have eyeballs on that sport, they really don't know what Conor McGregor can do. So if he loses, he proves all of these boxing fans right, and it's not good for the sport and the evolution of the sport. It's not good for his career either. I think Mayweather can afford to lose this, and it's good for him. He can go out that way and lose to somebody who is of substance. So we'll see what happens.
And that's the other aspect. You mentioning that kind of hits one thing. I could see that being the case, specifically monetarily for a setup, but being 49-0, yeah, I know he might want to go ahead and get to that 50-0, but what could it do for him if he did lose to Conor McGregor? It could set up a perfect rematch. Even if Conor loses, it could set up a rematch. But that part. That's the only aspect of it which takes out the whole, just the genuine of this, of it being like a genuine boxing match. That other aspect, the business side of it, that I worry about impacting what legitimately could happen. Not saying that I think Floyd would throw this fight, or I think Conor would throw this fight, but I could see Floyd being okay with losing just because, and let me go make another $200 million here in another.
And his comeback fight would his comeback fight would be huge. So I think
that's the only thing, the only caveat that I'm
us as fans. If you are a fan of combat sports, you need Conor McGregor to win this fight. That's the only scenario in which this takes either sport to the next level. Period. All right, so get that gentleman's bet music going. So let's start with Derek. Who's winning?
All the Floyd.
All right, Nate.
I'm going with Floyd.
All right, I'm taking my talents to Ireland, and we're going with Conor McGregor.
We with the Irish over there. We're gonna see what this red-headed boxer's gonna do, huh?
So we're gonna see. We're gonna see who. So you guys can negotiate who eats most of the ramen then. Yeah, since one of you guys has the acid reflux.
Well, I mean, don't we just both have to?
I mean, y'all can negotiate it as long as it gets eaten up. That's all I care about. I want to see somebody snotting and crying on YouTube.
It ain't gonna be me. Like, even if I'm eating it, I ain't gonna be snotting and crying.
That's what's up.
I ain't gonna be hitting the tapping. I'll take that. I'll take
shout
that.
Out
L.
to Woody Watterson.
I'll take that L.
And
hey, man, that's a good bow tie right there.
And if there's nothing for the good of the order, let's move on to what we got going on this week. Nate.
I have a pretty boring week. I actually have a lot of work coming up. This is a bit of a humble brag, but I got embedded into the advisory CEO office as a graphics person, which means I'm going to have a lot less free time, but a bit more responsibility. So I have a week full of work coming up, which not too exciting.
Derek?
I think I'm gonna try to keep my trend up of maybe trying to find a classic, or maybe some movie that kind of just fell by the wayside that maybe I wanted to see, some kind of big movie that I would have thought at the time, but I just never got around to seeing. I'm gonna see what kind of gems I could find, and see what we got.
For me, I kind of got a situation going on with work as well. There's a lot of work going on this week. We're ramping up for a busy season at the place that I work, so with our productions. So definitely really trying to get my team ready for that. But when it comes toward the weekend, it will definitely all be about the Mayweather fight coming up this weekend. And I think my wife and I, we're probably going to be cooking some buffalo wings. My wife is from upstate New York, and her dad has a killer secret buffalo sauce that, as long as we've been together, I still don't know the recipe. And so we're going to be doing wings the player way. Go have that ramen situated right next to us. So be watching out for YouTube on who's going to be snotting and crying. Hashtag
Hey, man, you know what else we're going to be doing this week?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Okay. I'm going to be adjusting to my new superpowers that I'm going to obtain while this eclipse goes down. That went down.
Yeah.
Actually, by the time we were talking about this back on Monday,
it will have gone down.
Yeah, so I'll be trying to adjust to whatever superpowers. I'm hoping it's not going to be like Meg Griffin and I can grow my nails slightly faster.
Either that, or maybe Poppy, her plan of our Illuminati plan will maybe the planets will align and Poppy will take over as the new superpower in our country. So all hail Poppy. If that's
when Kim Jong-un is going to launch. He's going to launch during the eclipse.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between, it is over once again. The Patron is simply out, the bottle's upside down, and all the giggle juice has been used up for this 90 minutes. So, all due respect to my co-captain, Derek.
Corrupting the system with some new superpowers.
And Nate.
Still here, survived the nuclear winter, so...
Wow, we went from rickets to nuclear winter.
I feel like there's a large middle ground.
I've had a hell of a week, guys.
Nathan Petersen, the nuclear winter soldier. Exactly. And
I want my bed.
He wants his butter. And
where's my birth?
And shout out to me, BK Jackson, the always effervescent voice of the Playaway podcast, and encouraging you, no matter what paths you decide to take or actions you follow, make sure you're doing that shit
the player way.
Absolutely. No one can do it better than you. Nobody can do it bestier than you. We'll holla at you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Player Way podcast. Recorded in a single take from Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, by Nathan Petersen, Derek Lewis, and BK Jackson. Our opening theme is titled Bound by Ricky Remedy, courtesy of Elysian Records. And our closing theme is titled Coconut King Diaries by Xander, spelled Zahnder. You can find this music by both Ricky Remedy and Xander, and many more tracks on SoundCloud. And remember, no matter what choices you make or paths you follow, just make sure you do it the player way. See you next week.